I fall into the trap myself of believing that the strength of my faith is contingent on how I'm personally feeling. Like, for instance, I have struggled at times deeply with being a pastor. I've struggled deeply with being a Christian. And I've wrestled with questions, I've wrestled with doubts and frustrations that I've had with God, relating to my father, relating to my first wife, passing of cancer. I can go on and on and on. I felt like my faith is so weak at times. I have fallen into depression sometimes, even wondering if God hears me or if he's even there altogether. And honestly, I have felt incredibly guilty and shameful for that. And yet, I read this text, right? And I see these people who are desperate for God to move in their life, lamenting, crying out to God over their circumstances. And you know what this shows me? It shows me that lament is not a lack of faith, to cry out to God, to be frustrated with God, to tell God exactly how we're feeling. Even like the deep, raw, real stuff is not a lack of faith. But it is a language of a people who still believe that God is listening even when it feels like he's not. Lament does not mean that your faith is failing. I want to be clear. This crying out to God that we just see read here, it's not meaning that your faith is weak. It means that your faith is actually alive enough to ask the hard questions and to bring them to God. As I said last week, the hardest questions, the biggest doubts that you can wrestle with, God is big enough to handle.